Video opens with a dizzying, fast-paced montage of pop art visuals. A smartphone screen cracking under the pressure of infinite notifications. A person screaming silently as 1,000 mouths shout opinions at them. A chess piece being swept off a board by a chaotic tidal wave. The music is a driving, anxious electronic track that abruptly cuts to silence. A dramatic, still image of Jotaro Kujo, his hat obscuring his eyes, appears on screen. He stands perfectly still against a swirling, psychedelic background. The only sound is a low, resonant hum. Voiceover ## phase 1. The hook. Have you ever felt it? That low, constant hum of psychic exhaustion. The feeling that your mind is a city under siege, bombarded from all sides by opinions, obligations, and endless, screeching noise. Every notification a catapult stone, every breaking news alert a battering ram against the gates of your focus. We live in an age of mandatory reaction. An era where silence is mistaken for ignorance, and stillness for weakness. This relentless pressure to feel, to speak, to react to everything, has a name. We shall call it the tyranny of noise. It's the invisible force that fragments your attention, leeches your energy, and pulls you into battles that are not your own. But what if I told you there was a way to stand in the eye of this hurricane? To build an inner fortress so absolute that the chaos of the world breaks against its walls, leaving your core untouched? Today, we decode the psychology of the silent hero. We will dissect the modern stoicism of Jotaro Kujo, and I promise you, by the end of our session, you will possess the mental blueprint to build your own unbreakable calm. ## phase 2. The problem. Let's be direct. This tyranny of noise feels personal, doesn't it? You open your phone, intending to answer a single message, and are instantly swept away by a current of outrage, desire, and comparison. You sit in a meeting, and the air is thick with loud confidence and frantic energy, yet nothing of substance is decided. You feel a constant, nagging pressure to have a take, to perform your opinion on the world stage, lest you cease to exist. Your mind, the one place that should be a sanctuary, has been colonized by the demands of others. You feel porous, as if the boundary between you and the world has dissolved, and its anxieties are now your own. Imagine this. You're at a party. The music is deafening. Someone you barely know is shouting in your ear about a political scandal you have no control over. Another person is pulling at your sleeve, demanding to know what you think of a new film. Your phone buzzes relentlessly in your pocket, work emails, group chat arguments, a forgotten reminder for a task you now dread. In that moment, you don't feel connected. You feel consumed. You smile, you nod, you offer a half-formed thought, but inside, a single, desperate prayer forms. I just wanted to be quiet. And here is the hidden, brutal cost of living this way. When you are constantly reacting, you are no longer acting. Your life ceases to be a self-directed project and becomes a series of frantic parries against external forces. You aren't the player, you're the piece being moved. You lose the most valuable thing you possess, your own will. The tyranny of noise doesn't just make you tired, it makes you a ghost in your own life. ## phase 3. Solution. And then, we see him. The man who is the absolute antithesis of this modern sickness. Jotaro Kujo. Many mistake his silence for apathy, his stoicism for a lack of emotion. This is a fatal misreading. Jotaro is not empty, he is fortified. His strength is not merely the impossible speed and power of his stand, star platinum. That is simply the physical manifestation of his true power. A psyche forged in the forgotten fires of Stoic philosophy. Jotaro is the master of his own inner world, and from that mastery, he derives the power to change the outer world. His philosophy, though never spoken, is a masterclass in psychological resilience. It can be distilled into 3 formidable principles. Principle 1. The Dichotomy of Control. This is the cornerstone of Stoicism, from the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius to the 17-year-old delinquent from Japan. The philosophy is simple, yet it is the most powerful weapon a human can wield. Some things are within your control, and some are not. The world of JoJo is bizarre, chaotic, and fundamentally unjust. Enemy stand users appear without reason. Allies die senseless deaths. A 100-year-old vampire in Egypt threatens your mother's life from thousands of miles away. These are the violent, uncontrollable realities of Jotaro's world. They are the equivalent of your frantic boss, the volatile stock market, the opinions of strangers on the internet. Jotaro wastes zero psychic energy on the things he cannot change. He never laments, "Why is this happening to me?" He never despairs over the existence of Dio. He accepts the state of the world as a fundamental fact. His focus is radically, ruthlessly narrowed to the one thing he can control: his own response. His choices. His actions. This is not passivity. It is the highest form of precision. Principle 2. The Discipline of Assent. Events themselves do not harm us. It is our judgment about those events that causes us to suffer. A new enemy appearing is not inherently bad. It is simply an event. The judgment, "This is terrible, we might not survive," is what introduces fear and panic. Jotaro is a master of withholding this final, poisonous judgment. He observes. He gathers information. He assesses the threat. His iconic phrase, "Yare Yare Daze," often translated as, "Good grief," or, "What a pain," is not a complaint. It is the sigh of a man who has looked at the absurd facts of reality, accepted them without melodrama, and is now preparing to act. It is the sound of assent. "Very well," it says. Another obstacle. "Let's get to work." He separates the event from the story he tells himself about the event, and in that space, he finds his freedom. Principle 3. The Primacy of Action. In our world, talk is cheap. Virtue signaling and loud declarations are the currency of the realm. But for the Stoic, and for Jotaro, a person is defined by one thing and one thing only: their deeds. Jotaro's silence is not a void. It is a crucible. In that quiet, he is observing, strategizing, and waiting for the precise moment to act. He doesn't need to announce his courage. He doesn't need to broadcast his loyalty to his friends. He simply is courageous. He simply is loyal. He proves his character through his actions, not his words. While his enemies, like the theatrical Dio, are monologuing and boasting, Jotaro is looking for an opening. He understands that a single, well-timed punch is worth more than 1,000 grand speeches. Think of your mind as a deep, abyssal ocean. The tyranny of noise is the raging storm on the surface, the crashing waves, the howling wind, the torrential rain. Most people live their lives on a tiny raft, tossed and battered by this surface chaos. They believe the storm is the ocean. Jotaro, the Stoic, has learned to dive. He resides in the immense, silent, unshakable calm of the depths. From there, he can observe the storm on the surface, understand its patterns, and choose when to surface and act with purpose, but the storm can never, ever touch the profound stillness of his core. This is the goal. Not to stop the storm. You can't, but to learn how to live in the depths. Phase 4. The application. This is not mere theory. This is a practical guide to forging your own inner fortress. A set of actionable techniques to reclaim your mind from the tyranny of noise. Step 1. Practice the view from above. This is a classic Stoic exercise of cognitive distancing. When you feel overwhelmed, trapped in the weeds of an argument, an insult, or a stressful project, I want you to stop. Close your eyes. In your mind's eye, begin to float upwards. See yourself in the room. Then float higher. See the building. Higher still, see the city block, the city, the country, the continent, until you are looking down at the earth, a beautiful, silent blue marble suspended in the vast, black velvet of space. From this cosmic perspective, look down upon the problem that consumes you. See how small it is. See the person who insulted you, not as a monster, but as another tiny, struggling being on this sphere. Feel the immense scale of reality. The problem has not vanished, but its power over you has been diminished. It is no longer an all-consuming fire. It is a single spark in an infinite darkness. Ask yourself, from this height, what truly matters in my next action? This exercise creates the psychological space needed for rational thought, not panicked reaction. Step 2. Implement the action filter. Jotaro does not react instinctively. He filters reality through a lens of purpose. You will now do the same. Before responding to a provocative email, before joining a heated online debate, before allowing a piece of news to ruin your day, you will pause and pass it through 3 gates. Gate 1. Control. Is this thing, or any part of this thing, truly within my control? Gate 2. Purpose. Will my reaction, whether it is anger, anxiety, or even engagement, serve my larger goals and values? Or will it merely drain my energy for no gain? Gate 3. Necessity. Is action required from me, right now? Or is observation sufficient? Is silence the more powerful move? This filter is your Yare Yare Daze moment. It is a sacred pause between stimulus and response. Most of the time, you will find that the noise of the world does not require your participation. You will learn to let it pass by, unanswered, preserving your energy for the battles that truly matter. Step 3. Conduct the Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of evils. Jotaro walks into every fight expecting the worst. He anticipates his enemy's stand will have some bizarre, unforeseeable power. This is not pessimism, it is strategic preparation. At the beginning of your day, take 60 seconds. Don't visualize success. Visualize obstacles. Imagine your commute will have traffic. Imagine a colleague will be difficult. Imagine a project will hit a snag. Rehearse these small disasters in your mind. The purpose is not to create anxiety, but to inoculate yourself against it. By anticipating chaos, you strip it of its greatest weapon, surprise. When the difficult colleague starts their nonsense, you will not be shocked or angered. A part of you will calmly say, "Ah, there you are. I was expecting you." You have already met this challenge in the controlled environment of your mind, and you are ready. Step 4. The Journal of Apatheia. In Stoicism, Apatheia does not mean apathetic laziness. It means a state of tranquility, free from the disturbance of irrational passions. This exercise will train your mind to achieve it. Each evening, take a notebook. Write down one event from the day that provoked a strong negative emotion in you. For example, my presentation was heavily criticized by my team. Now, identify the judgment you attached to this event. The story you told yourself. Judgment. This means I am incompetent. I failed. They think I'm an idiot. Finally, rewrite the event with the cold, objective eye of a security camera. Describe only the bare facts, stripped of all emotional interpretation. Objective fact. During the meeting, team members offered feedback on 3 slides of the presentation, suggesting alternative data points. Do you see the difference? The first version is a story about your failure. The second is an event you can learn from. This practice surgically separates fact from the destructive fiction your mind creates. Over time, you will train yourself to see the world as it is, not as your fears paint it. The visual style returns to a dramatic, character-focused aesthetic. We see iconic scenes of Jotaro's greatest mental triumphs. Phase 5. The proof. Does this philosophy actually work? Does this internal posture produce external victory? For the ultimate proof, we need only look at Jotaro's 2 greatest trials, the battles against the Darby brothers. These fights are not won with fists. They are battles of pure psychology, waged in the theater of the mind. Against Daniel J. Darby, in a game of poker, Jotaro is not the better player. He is outmatched in skill and experience. Darby can read his every tell. So what does Jotaro do? He applies the dichotomy of control. He cannot control the cards he is dealt. He cannot control Darby's skill. But he can control his own internal state. He raises the bet, putting his mother's soul and the souls of his allies on the line, without even looking at his cards. This act is so outside the logic of the game, so completely devoid of the fear and anxiety that Darby feeds on, that it shatters his opponent's mind. Jotaro wins not by playing poker, but by wielding his own unshakable calm as a weapon. He demonstrates that a man who has mastered himself cannot be mentally dominated by another. This principle is not fiction. It is a fundamental truth of human psychology. Consider the work of Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist who survived the horrors of the Nazi concentration camps. In his book, Man's Search for Meaning, he wrote about what separated those who survived from those who did not. It wasn't physical strength. It was the discovery of what he called the last of the human freedoms. Frankl wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing. The last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. This is the soul of Jotaro's strength. Dio, the ultimate villain, can throw knives, bend reality, and stop time itself. He can physically dominate Jotaro, but he cannot touch his will. He cannot choose Jotaro's attitude for him. In the final confrontation, Dio is all noise, screaming, Muda Muda Muda, boasting of his power, trying desperately to provoke a reaction. Jotaro's response? Silence. Observation. And then, calm, precise, overwhelming action. He doesn't defeat Dio's power. He defeats Dio's philosophy of hedonistic, reactive chaos with his own philosophy of disciplined, stoic will. He proves that the quiet center is always more powerful than the raging storm. The music swells, becoming more anthemic and inspiring, but still retaining its cool, stylish edge. The visuals become a montage of aspirational, pop art images of focus and power. Phase 6. The call to action. You have the theory. You have the tools. You now possess the blueprint for your own inner fortress. The tyranny of noise will not vanish overnight. It will continue its assault. But from now on, you are no longer defenseless. You have a choice. You can live on the chaotic surface, or you can learn to master the powerful silence of the depths. I want to know what you think. So, for our session's focus question, in the comments below, tell me, which character, from any story, embodies this stoic ideal for you? And what is the one piece of noise you will choose to deliberately ignore this week? Let's turn that comment section into a fortress of shared wisdom. And if you believe that understanding the psychology of these incredible stories is a path to mastering your own, then you have found your tribe. Join our collective, become a golden spirit. Subscribe, and strike that bell of enlightenment so you never miss a session. Your journey does not end here. Now that you have built your inner fortress with Jotaro Kujo, it is time to understand its opposite, the seductive, all-consuming psychology of the man who seeks to conquer the world through sheer charisma and unrestrained will. The mind of the ultimate tyrant. The psychological profile of Dio Brando is your next destination. Click the video on screen now to continue your journey into the very heart of human ambition. Screen shows a stylized end card. On one side is the recommended video, The God Complex, Deconstructing the Psychology of Dio Brando. On the other are the subscribe and social media buttons. The music plays out.